Have you ever had that experience when you're talking to someone and all of a sudden they just start picking their nose? Or what about you're talking to someone and they start shoveling food in their face and trying to answer the question you gave them while still chewing? Oh my goodness. This has seemed to be happening a lot to me lately. When I say a lot, I mean at least 5 times within the past week. I have seen these things happen. Now, you might be saying, Ray, what's the big deal? I mean, I'm just saying, if people got a booger, they got a booger. However, please don't share your booger with me. It is not something that we should be sharing, especially if I don't know you very well. Yes, bodily things are normal, and yet, whatever happened to manners? Hello, what's up, everybody? My name is Ray with Get Real Ray. This is a space and place for life and business tips to hopefully inspire you on your journey of self-betterment, or at the very least, provide you with some laughs. And so, let's begin.
Craving real advice? Tired of feeling like every other small business owner or solopreneur is raking in the dough while you just seem to be raking? Secretly looking for a reminder that starting your own business is not as glamorous as others make it look? Whether you're looking to change the game in your relationships at home or at the workplace, you've come to the right place. My name is Ray. I went from corporate America to running my own small business to becoming a solopreneur. I'm a professional actor and, dare we say, a professional busybody, because this body is about to be busy all up in your biz. So let's get real.
Okay, my friends. So I don't know what's going on. The other day I was on Cambly, which I think is one of the few side hustles that is a legit side hustle, and really just it's easy to start. You don't have to create your own website or create any complex profile that requires you to lure in customers. The bare minimum you could do on Cambly is to create a profile. You get approved, of course, and then once approved, you can go ahead and just sign up for what they call priority hours. And so you can make yourself available to teach only during these time slots when they feel like there's going to be a lot of people online. So then that way you're guaranteed to get a lot of people, and you never even have to send messages to people afterwards. The lessons are all planned for you. So if you were just the laziest person ever and like to talk, then this is a good way to go. Now, that being said, the more love, the more sprinkle and pepper you put into your mix, then the better feedback you will get from students, the more you will have students request working with you, and the more fun it is. I really enjoy doing it. I've met some really cool people using Cambly. It's been a blast. But a whole separate video on side hustles. What we're talking about today is appropriate behavior. I was on the Cambly. I was talking to a very nice person, and they were very well educated, but I found myself slightly distracted when this person started to put finger in nose. We're just going to say put finger in nose. Maybe it was an itch. Maybe it was something that needs to be dislodged. I don't know. Now, different cultures, different things are okay. My feeling was, oh, I did not expect that. And so I had to remind myself, different cultures, different things are okay. Yes, let us move forward. It had me thinking of my experience just a few days prior with a 11-year-old who started eating pretzels while in a class with me. We were online, and he'd never eaten in our class before, but he started chewing in a manner that I found distracting. It just so happened it was the two of us. It was not a private lesson, but and then he goes, "These pretzels are good." And I said, "That's cool." And he just kept chewing in a very loud manner. Loud when your mouth has to open and I can see the food in your mouth. I am not into this. I do not want to see the food in your mouth. Now, let's roll it back again. I had another student who was eating chips. And he says to me, "You want some?" So he made a little joke out of it. Now, he did say this to me. He did offer the Pringles cans to the camera, and I thought that was really fun. However, after a little bit, I'm trying to remember if this happened before or after, but I guess it really doesn't matter. I had asked him a question, and he was chewing and answering the question, and I did not want to see the food in his mouth. And I said, "You know what? I'm sorry. Because you are chewing right now, I'm going to ask you to hold off on answering my question. I'm actually not going to listen to you, and I'll wait till you're finished chewing, and then I'll let you answer my question." Now, mind you, this student is not of an age, if they're 3 or 4 years old, they don't really have the control, right? They're hungry, they gotta eat. But over time, as we go through childhood into adolescence and into adulthood, there is the expectation that one is able to control certain bodily desires, functions, okay? It would be strange if I, as the teacher, started eating my dinner in class. And now maybe you are an online educator. You're like, "Oh, I do that all the time." And in that case, I would never come to your class. If you only teach for children, I would not have my child come to your class because you should control yourself. Like, seriously, somebody is paying for your time and you're over there just smacking away. Okay. Now, with that being said, I have this weird relationship with manners. Do you have this as well? When I was growing up, we were told that you say please and thank you. This is polite. These are good manners. You don't say, "Can I?" You say, "May I?" This is good manners. We even played a little game as kids. Mother, may I take 3 steps? Yes, you may. It was a great game. I love that game. More children should play that game. More children should have manners. More adults should have manners. I don't know. So now one could say, "Oh, these ideas, they're so old-fashioned, antiquated. Why would anyone care? Why can't I just be just me," right? And especially in the United States, we're in this period of, I just need to be me. If I need to pick my nose, I need to pick my nose. If I need to pick my wedgie, I need to pick my wedgie. If I need to eat, I need to eat. Why is that a problem for you? You need to fix yourself. Now, while I do agree that you should be you, do what you need to do, on the other hand, I also think there should be some consideration by you for others. Hear me out. You may disagree, but hear me out. So, imagine being in a movie theater. In a movie theater, you have paid to focus on that movie. Or maybe you didn't pay, you just snuck in. Or maybe you really just paid so that you can get some popcorn and some free air conditioning. I guess it's not free, but get some air conditioning and a break from your regular life. I don't know but all the same. In theory, you've paid for access to this film. Now, if someone next to you starts talking loudly and starts revealing the key events of the movie because they've seen it before, chances are you would find this upsetting. And this is a movie that you haven't seen before. Now, maybe you're just like, "No, I've just come from a Buddhist retreat and nothing upsets me. I am the water and the way, and Taoism is my life. And so if this person talks at the screen, it is okay with all of my stoic being. I will ignore this." But while that's a great way to be, there, regardless of your philosophical beliefs, I feel like there's some level, some part of you that might question this person's need to express themselves towards the screen. Now, you could be saying to me, Ray, instead of getting upset, I would consider this person's past trauma. I would feel sorry for this person because it would be clear to me that something has happened in their life where they feel the need to repeatedly see a movie and to talk to the screen. And that's fair. That's fair. However, I don't come from a place where I like to walk around just pitying people. Like, oh goodness, you talk loudly. I pity you. I question what abuse you have incurred. Like, no, I can question them, but I don't need to feel sorry for them. Like, why is this person talking to the screen? And maybe they have some neurological condition in which they can't help but talk to the screen. But I also don't come from a place where I assume everyone has some sort of neurological difference that makes them incapable of honoring or obliging to certain societal rules. So, with that being said, the person's talking loudly at the screen and you're you feel like this person probably doesn't have some neurological issue where they just have to talk at the screen. And so, I wish they wouldn't reveal what is happening in the movie, right? There may not be any anger towards them. Just, oh, gosh, I wish I wouldn't reveal what's going to happen in the movie because I haven't seen this movie before and I really wanted to experience the surprise myself. And I would say that's fair. Okay, so maybe there's no anger, there's no judgment of the person, but just, in terms of how their behavior is impacting me, I kind of wish that they weren't doing that because it's affecting how I can enjoy the movie. Now, you might be saying, Ray, if that's an issue for you, if you can't handle that somebody might need to talk to the screen, then you should just stay at home and don't go to the movies. Well, I don't go to the movies. I love movies, but I don't go to the movies for many reasons. And that's going to be one of them. So there you go. Now, is it fair that I can't go to the movies without being concerned that the other person just has to be themselves, and being themselves infringes upon my ability to enjoy the movie without getting all the surprises? And what if it's not a movie? What if it is a once-in-a-lifetime concert with an amazing musician that you've always admired, and you decide to come out of your cave, go to this concert, and take a risk. And it just so happens that the person in front of you, you've paid for good seats, okay? You spent a lot of money on good seats. You're trying to create an experience, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and the person in front of you is wearing a very big hat. Very big hat. Or maybe it's not a hat, because, right, hats, you can be like, oh, excuse me, would you mind taking that off? I gotta be me. I'm not taking this off. If you have a problem, then, all right, and then you can call security, and maybe security get them to take it off. But what if it's not a hat? What if they're just like the Marge Simpson beehive hairdo? And yeah, you've paid for this seat. Now, in theory, the person in the seat in front of you, before leaving their home, understanding that they've also paid a lot of money for these seats and understanding the section that they're in, would include other people, right? They purposely chose a seat that is in front of others. They might say to themselves, I want to enjoy this concert, and I also don't want to have any issues with other people, so maybe I style my hair a different way today. Now, that would be taking into consideration of others, which is what manners is all about. And so a friend of mine had a work colleague, and he said to me, what is going on? Every time we have a meeting, this guy comes into the meeting late with his lunch and then proceeds to eat throughout the entire meeting. And when he answers a question, he's often still chewing on food. It's very distracting. And I found myself going, ooh, there's so many issues there. Like, these meetings aren't last minute. The meeting is planned in advance. Everyone is notified in advance. So why isn't this person adjusting their lunch schedule? Because they do have like regular times where they can take lunch. So why is this person making it a priority to have their lunch, enjoy their lunch before the meeting or after the meeting, right? I mean, I guess if you can't wait, then you really need to eat before. But and it's also the open floor plan so people can see what's kind of going on with the workday. So there's nothing going on with this person's workday where they can't make their lunch priority before the meeting. Because in the meeting, everyone is taking time out of the regular workday in order to discuss things related to whatever the project is. And therefore, that is the priority, not where is so-and-so? We can't cover this issue until so-and-so gets here. Let's get that person caught up. Oh, now I can smell this person's food. Maybe this person is eating something that is offensive to someone else. If there are people in the room who might be observing a fast, it is extremely difficult to sit in the same room with someone who's eating something that is very potent and participate in the conversation with them. So I've had people say to me, because I one of the things I do is I teach online. And I've had people say to me, it is their home. And if they want to feed their child during your class, then they should be able to do that. It's their home. To which I've responded, they are paying for a class in which I am being paid to teach. I am not being paid to wait for the student to finish chewing. I am not being paid to watch a parent spoon feed a child who is what we would say preteen, trying to type in a typing class, but doesn't want to stop typing because that's what the class is for. So there's a parent spoon feeding them while they're typing. Get your kid up 5 minutes early and let them have breakfast. Or let them leave class a few minutes early so that they can have breakfast. Because this multitasking of them trying to chew and them going, no more, and the parent is still trying to shove the food in the mouth, this is crazy and it is extremely distracting. Also, that family doesn't know. In that case, there was only one student. It was not a private lesson. But one thing that comes to my mind is when it's other students there, people don't know what that other family is going through. Maybe there's a student who really loves McDonald's fries. And then another kid comes into class late eating McDonald's fries and their burger. And they're like, sorry, I just got my Happy Meal, right? And so they're eating and the other kid is kind of like, wish I could have some McDonald's fries. Yeah. But maybe after class, they go ask their mom, why can't I have McDonald's fries? And mom is just like, what? What are you talking about? And maybe that family doesn't have the money for McDonald's fries right then. How does that kid feel? How does that parent now feel? And so this is where manners come in. Now, I've been talking a lot about eating just because eating has just been a lot in the past. I've had the pretzel person, the chip person, I had a burger person, all kinds of things. And then the chips where there's like the dust on it, like the Cheetos, and the people start licking their fingers, and then they are going to start like typing or that to me is just like, oh my gosh, I would not want to touch that person's keyboard ever. That's disgusting. I don't want to shake your hand. When I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, my fingers are ours. But, as I've grown older, I realized that's not okay. To be so attached to a flavor that you don't want to let the flavor go. And so you lick the flavor off your hands. Because if I want to just clean my hands, if we were licking our fingers because we want to clean our hands, we'll just go wash our hands. But the additives in the product make you kind of want it more. And so there's this thing of licking fingers. It's even a part of commercials. It's disgusting, though. This is really not the best way that we should show ourselves to others. And so as I've thought about manners, I've said to myself, what are some manners that really need to be reinforced and need to be considered priorities? Now, I do have in my class listings, don't eat in my classes. Once I had the spoon-feed kid, I was like, just don't. And most people are able to honor this. And I had another teacher who said, oh yeah, the kids always come home straight from school and they jump on class and the kids are eating. And I had to tell her, like, that's not okay. Not only is in the class listing that these kids shouldn't be eating in class, but it's a class where they have to use their hands. And so this class, if they are having to take a hand to eat constantly, then they're not able to use both hands to do the activity that's required in the class. Additionally, it's not a private class, so they really shouldn't be treating it as if it's a private class. And if they need to eat, their parent needs to put them in a different class time so that they have time to eat. It's really not that difficult. And yet sometimes in our lives, you're like, I'm not a teacher, Ray. It's okay. Here we go. Sometimes in our lives, we make accommodations for other people because we feel like, oh, well, they need to be them. But you also want to take a moment to step back and think, well, how is their being them? They're honoring their immediate needs. How is that going to impact others? Yes. And so if they're honoring their immediate needs is distracting from whatever the person is supposed to be committing time to at that moment. Now, whether that is a meeting or maybe you are not often in group meetings. You have a freelance life where your meetings happen via email or text or something, or phone. Yes, phones. People still use phones. And you don't even have to get on Zoom. So you don't have to worry about seeing anybody chew. This is all fine and dandy. But when it comes to, the talking loudly, the picking a wedgie in front of you, the picking the booger in front of you, walking with friends, all 4 or 5 in a row on the sidewalk and taking up the whole sidewalk so that people cannot walk in the opposite direction. Now, there are some countries where you only walk one direction on the sidewalk, but it's pretty clear if you're not in one of those countries because you see what everybody else is doing. So these are all things where I feel like, being considerate of others is key here. It is crucial. And we should really bring back manners. So I would love to know from you in the comments below, what is something where you feel like, that is in violation of the rules of manners, and I wish people would stop doing that. Talking loudly on the phone. Another big thing is, I remember there was like a campaign in New York about manspreading. So that's where someone would sit with their legs really wide apart and try to see as many seats as they could take up. A big pet peeve of mine, I've seen adults do this. I've seen whole families do this, and I think it's so disgusting, is to put your feet on the seats of, like on a train, to put one's feet on the seats. People do this on subways or buses too. But on the train, it's situated so that it's long enough where people can have their shoe on the seat. Little more difficult on the bus, and so they can stretch their legs out, which is great if you need to stretch your legs out. However, I hate to say, like, maybe take off your shoes, but your shoes are dirty because you've been walking around the ground, and especially in like New York, the ground is dirty, okay? So I don't know what you stepped in. Maybe you stepped on some poo and now you put poo on the seats. And you might be saying, Ray, that's a little extreme. Not everybody steps in poo. This is true. But I've seen it happen when it's been a rainy day or a snowy day and people will put their feet, their shoes on the seats. And I'm looking at other people being forced to stand up because there's no one to sit, because there's this family, or not even family, but a single individual with their feet on the seats, and they're more interested in playing Candy Crush or whatever, texting, whatever, and their own physical comfort, as opposed to the fact that they paid for one seat, not 5 seats. You pay for one seat. So someone else should be able to sit down and not have to sit in your shoe gook. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I think maybe I'm going to like make a list of manners that need to be brought back. I think good manners, as a kid, I was just like, oh, you know, this please and thank you. That's just such an effort. But now as an adult, I feel like, no, I really wish people would put in that effort a little more, because it shows that they actually do care about the existence of others. Not just my existence, but the existence of others. And I think caring about the existence of others is crucial. I think it's what allows us to exist as a society. And sure, there are tons of people who are like, I'm gonna go live off grid. And that's fine. Go live off grid. And yet your being able to live off grid wouldn't be an option unless others had created the materials in which you need in order to live off grid. So if you're like, I don't need the electric company, I've got my own solar panels and my own generator attached to the solar panels. That's great. But someone had to make the solar panels and the generator, right? Someone had to make the wood or the bricks or whatever it is that you're using to make the place that you live. And so though we have reached a point in society where we can really reduce our interactions with others, the new AI technology, Gemini, really makes it so that you don't even have to call your friend and ask their opinion or something. You can just ask Gemini, hey, what do you think is better? And while that's fine and dandy and has its uses, fact of the matter is, someone had to create it, right? So though society is getting to a point where we really just don't have to interact and engage and be social in a non-social media way, we still need to accept the fact that others do exist. And if other people do exist, we want to live our lives. I think is ideal to live one's life in a manner which does not infringe upon others, to make it so that I kind of don't want to say you make them uncomfortable, but to make it okay, to infringe upon others in such a way in that it seems as though you do not acknowledge their existence. That's it. So by instilling good manners in yourself, you have to kind of define what good manners is. That allows you to accept the fact that others do exist, and by displaying good manners, you in turn are showing others that you do care about their existence. And you're also asking others to care about your existence, which that ain't bad. I mean, when you think about social media, people are posting pictures of what they ate, what they are eating, right? The picture of the food with the bite in it, what they're wearing, how they like to do their makeup, what they think. Posting so many things. This is what I wear. This is what my cat is doing. So all of these types of posts are ways of saying, hey, please care about what I'm doing. Now, it could be please care about what I'm doing because I want to know if you feel the same or you do the same. That's, you know, kind of my thing with these videos is not so much care what I think, but do you think the same? Do we have something in common, right? Do we have something in common? And of course, you know, some of my videos are directed as, hey, this is what helped me, or this is my experience. Maybe this will help you and help you with your experience. But it's still acknowledging the existence of others. And acknowledging the existence of others is really what life is all about. Sorry, but people do exist. So if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like, oh, this is really frustrating. And I think with 2020, a lot of us found ourselves in situations where we found things really frustrating. This person won't wear a mask. They say I can't go outside. Why doesn't this person want to get vaccinated? Why do I have to get vaccinated? Like, all of these things really came down to looking at, how am I acknowledging the existence of others? How am I showing that I care that these others exist? And so when we look at that, if we look at good manners as acknowledging others and appreciating that others exist, and not as a set of archaic or arbitrary or old-fashioned rules, because I think as a kid, that's how I kind of thought of it. And actually, even as an adult, I remember seeing a class listed as manners class. And I thought, who wants that? Like, what are you, know which fork to use? Know how to say, excuse me, I'd like a cup of tea. Like, what kind of class is that? I just remember being like, oh, that's ridiculous. But after a week of boogers and burgers and chips and pretzels, I feel like manners need a comeback. And I know a lot of our favorite pop stars or celebrities, especially in the hip hop genre, make it their signature to be loud and flashy and, oh, I gotta be me, and he gotta do this to me. Okay, I get it. And yet, chances are, some of those people may not present that personality 110% of the time, right? When they're talking to their grandparent or something, they may lower their voice a little bit. They may not say certain things that you hear them say in their music. Because they're acknowledging others. Right? So don't be fooled. Don't be fooled in thinking that the 5 minutes you see of a music video, that's probably too long. The 3.5 minutes you see of a music video, or the 5-minute interview you see on some talk show represents what that person is like 24 hours a day. Allow yourself to take a moment to think about what you prioritize. What are the things that others do that really kind of irk you? And then ask yourself, do you model that same behavior anywhere in your life? Right? Have you been guilty of those things? And if you have, how can you consciously make a decision to no longer do those things? Right? I remember when I was younger, I used to put my feet up on the couch. Mom would be like, put your feet off the couch. And I'd be like, why? It's comfortable. And now I'm kind of glad that she kept reminding me not to do that. Because when I look at people who do that on public transit, I feel like, that's creating a problem for others. Now, whether or not you agree that putting your feet on the couch in your home is a problem for others, that's a different story. But that habit does find its way creeping into other parts of your life, right? Because your brain is just in this position of, oh, I am doing something I usually do. Candy Crush, texting, whatever. And one thing I usually do is to make myself more comfortable is I like to put my feet up. And so unconsciously, you just may put your feet up, just out of habit. Put your feet up on that train seat. Not thinking about the fact that you just walked through the snow. Ew. Okay, if you live on a beach, you may let me like, Ray, I don't have that problem. But somebody be coming over your house with sand all in their shoes and trying to walk on your floor. And then you like, why are you walking your dirty shoes with all that sand on my floor? Now I have to sweep thanks to you. I told you to take your shoes off outside. Get it together. Mm-hmm. You know there's something bothering you. Oh my goodness, friends, this has been so much fun for me. I hope it's been fun for you too. But yes, in the comments below, tell me what is a poor mannerism that you have noticed that you want to go away. And I also love to know if there was someone in your life who would get on your case about good manners. Yeah, let's thank that person. I want to know if you feel okay with it. Like, who's that person, and what was something that they instilled in you, which you still thank them for to this day? Okay, my friends, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. This has been Ray from Get Real Ray, and as always, I wish you the best in your life journey. Until next time, peace.
Thanks for listening. If you think this podcast would help a friend, then please feel free to share it with them. If you want to check out some more Real Ray or just see me hang out with cute dogs, then feel free to visit me over on YouTube, Get Real Ray 4273.